Hey, what is up everyone? Kieran here bringing you another video, and this time it's going to be the gold guide for the most recent patch in TERA. With the recent reiteration of the enchanting system, a lot of people need ways to make gold because it takes quite a bit of gold to actually do the enchanting. So what I want to talk to you all about is an overview of what instances you can be running, how you can be making gold through crafting, and just overall making a routine out of making quite a bit of gold. Because we all know that we want to get up to Stormcry, but right now we're all stuck at Frost Metal. So, with that in mind, let's go ahead and hop right in. So there are a couple of things that you can focus on as far as making gold in TERA currently. These things being golden talents, silver talents, the golden derricks, as well as golden plates if you're able to craft them, as well as all the gems, this being rubies, sapphires, emeralds, and diamonds. And there's a lot more to go on into regarding emeralds specifically, and you'll see that later on in the video. Another thing to note is there is a way to exchange the metamorphic emblems, which we've gotten so much of, other than, like, basically if you don't need metamorphic emblems, you can make a little bit of money. Though I would say if you are on an enchanting spree, go ahead and use them on the enchanting materials that you need. But for anyone who may have a lot of wood scraps or just extra stuff that you don't feel that you need the metamorphic emblems, what you can do is you can actually use the metamorphics in a ratio of 12 per masterwork alkahest, those vendor at 2.8 gold per. So what this ends up being is, let's say you have one of the banners that basically gets you 400 metamorphic emblems, that ends up netting you around 93 gold. Now if we take a look at the golden talents, which are going to be the most common thing that you're going to sell or use yourself, or the gems. So golden talents currently, we're looking at our 34 gold a piece, and this is on Mount Tyrannus. There are several different ways we're going to be able to farm these up, which we'll go on later on in the video, as well as the silver talent, which is quite a bit more valuable, currently running at 89 gold apiece. I typically see these running around 30 gold for golden talents and ranging from 90 to 100, so right now silver talents are a little cheaper, but these are definitely the core things that you're going to be looking to sell. And another thing with emeralds specifically, once again, the value of vendoring an emerald is around 1,000 gold, so make sure you utilize the trade broker anytime you're selling emeralds, rubies, because you will net yourself around a 10 to 30% profit. The first part of the routine that I would like to address is going to be Island of Dawn. Over the years, Island of Dawn has become this staple place that you can make very consistent gold, especially if you're willing to do this on multiple characters. This patch is no exception. So now with Island of Dawn, the best way to actually make gold is going to be through the lowest tier of BAM. Once you teleport to the Island of Dawn and go to the designated area in the far north, once you kill 10 BAMs, you're guaranteed 2 enchanting boxes. These enchanting boxes are guaranteed to give you 7 golden talents per. So 14 every single time you kill 10, on top of a couple of metal fragments and wood fragments, which you can dismantle. But the main thing is going to be these golden talents. So every single time you're clearing this, you're getting around 175 gold, or 100, so double that, 350 gold every single time you clear it in just those materials. And you can do this 16 times on every single character you have. If you're willing to invest time and effort into just mindlessly grinding IOD, this is a pretty solid way to make very, very consistent money, and it doesn't require you to have a super geared character to do this. You can have, as long as you have an alt and guardian gear, it's really easy to honestly kill the very beginning brutal IOD BAMs. Now moving on, we're going to be talking about Ghillie Glade. Ghillie Glade is also another thing that has existed for quite some time and become a staple in terms of making money consistently in TERA. So Ghillie Glade, the ways that you can access it, and you only get once a day if you're not elite, or twice a day per character if you are elite. So what you can do is, if you're elite status, just on your elite bar, the far right teleport scroll will teleport you to the entrance of the Ghillie Glade. If you're a non-elite player, however, you do need to go to your Vanguard credit supply, and then on the other tab there is the Velix opportunity. I honestly recommend going on every single one of your characters and picking up multiple of these, because this, in my opinion, is the staple. I should do this on all my characters every single day, or at least, you know, the main ones that you intend to play. Once you get into Ghillie Glade, what you're going to find is there are 3 platforms. You honestly want to skip the first 2. It's not worth actually fighting the first boss. It's not worth fighting the second boss. Just go straight to the last boss. He does become a little bit more challenging, but bring some health potions and learn his attack pattern. It's fairly easy to complete. You're going to want to kill the crystal and then kill the boss. Another thing to note about this is the boss is only frontal. Therefore, you want to have a Wrathful Crystal, you want to have your Focused, and you want to just have Pounding Niveauts, because you're not going to be using your Bitter or your Savage, because you're not going to be getting back hits. Unless, of course, you want to clear the Crystal much more effectively. And Circles are bad, as usual. Ghillie Glade gives you some pretty good materials. Every single time you're guaranteed to get at least 1 ruby, all the way up to 5 rubies, and you can also get up to 5 sapphires, 5 emeralds. I've had people get 3 diamonds out of Ghillie Glade. So this, in my opinion, is the easiest and quickest way to actually make some kind of consistent gold, just by clearing Ghillie Glade on multiple characters. The last piece of solo content is going to be the Pit of Petrax. You can find entry into the Pit of Petrax if you go into High Watch and there's a Dungeon Advisor. Once you teleport in, there will be Petrax, which is a Fang spawn BAM. All you have to do is go about fighting and killing him. He can be fairly tough because he's consistently fast, as well as really obnoxious, like with the whole hitbox of the Fang spawn in general. But usually use your standard boss crystals with this and just go for back hits as much as possible. You will need to learn to iframe and avoid a lot of these attacks, or block his attacks. So Pit of Petrax is very similar to that of Ghillie Glade in the sense of what you're going to be obtaining. You're guaranteed to get some kind of gem every single time. Sometimes you'll find recipes for the new crafting materials. So, let's see. All in all, Pit of Petrax is, you can clear it 4 times if you're elite, 3 times if you're non-elite on every single character. You will want probably a little bit more gear than just your Guardian gear to kill him though. But once you're in Twist Shard or Upper Twist Shard or basic Frost Metal, you should be able to clear him. But definitely bring some potions in case you get into some sticky situations. I've even tied on my Zerker on stream to this guy before. So this is going to be the last of the solo content that you're going to be able to do on multiple characters to make a very good amount of consistent gold. Last but not least, we're going to be talking about Ravenous Gorge. So Ravenous Gorge is a entry-level dungeon. Once you get your Guardian gear, you can queue up for it. But as a non-elite player, you can clear it twice a day. As an elite player, you can clear it 4 times a day. And if you want to go even further, you can use reset scrolls, especially if you're elite, to reset the amount of entries you can go in there. So elite players, you can go into Ravenous Gorge 8 times a day. What does this mean? It means every single time you clear this short 3-man dungeon, entry-level dungeon, you're getting 600 gold from the Vanguard request. So 600 gold for 8 total clears, you end up making 4,800 gold on every single character that you want to go through the 8 times clear on. That is quite a bit of gold. And like I said, any person who has a character in Guardian gear is able to queue up for Ravenous Gorge. So it's definitely worth running. I do recommend getting a couple of guildies together because it is a 3-man dungeon, and especially if you have geared characters, because that'll make it a much more faster process. If you're able to go in and clear the Ghillie Glade, or not Ghillie Glade, the Ravenous Gorge in like 5 minutes a clear with your geared characters, then you're just smashing out a ton of gold. So with that covers all the content that you're going to be able to be clearing. There's a couple of other things that I'd like to touch up on that have the potential to make a lot of money. The next part we're going to be talking about is going to be the crafting. Crafting has become an essential part of the new patch because it's required for any weapons or accessories that need to be upgraded. You have to get weapon crafters, armor smiths, as well as alchemists, which alchemists have their own role to actually go about upgrading your gear. The main one that I'd like to talk to y'all about is primarily going to be alchemy. Alchemy is such a huge deal because of the fact that it allows you to make your rubies, your sapphires, and your emeralds, and even up to diamonds. The main thing that we're going to be concerned about, though, is going to be emeralds. So emeralds, as you see, it takes 5 sapphires as well as 100 artisan refining kits. What this means is that the total value of the materials to craft an emerald costs around 1100 gold, or basically a 10% increase compared to what you can vendor an emerald for. However, emeralds right now are used to enchant any gear that's frost metal or even the early Stormcry. So everyone needs emeralds at this point in time. Thus, the market has a high demand, and they're selling for around 1300 to 1400 gold apiece on the trade broker. I recommend having an alt or even your main character get your alchemy skill up to artisan so you have the ability to make your own emeralds. Another thing to note about whenever crafting all of the alchemy or the rubies into the sapphires, etc., you actually have a small chance to proc into 2. Keep in mind though, the proc chance is only 5% or so, so if you try to mass craft this in the hopes of just making money magically, you're probably going to end up losing out. But once again, for the most part, you definitely want to have an alchemist in your kit so you can craft the emeralds and sell them on the trade broker for a much higher value, or just make them yourself. You're going to be getting a ton of rubies and a ton of sapphires if you're doing what I said earlier in the video, in other words, running Pit of Petrax and running Ghillie Glade on multiple characters every single day. And then lastly is going to be Battlegrounds. So Battlegrounds, nowadays they give you a victory chest or several victory chests if you win. The main thing that I would like to address though is going to be Freywind. So Freywind Canyon is the best way to make money as far as PvP currently. The reason why is because when you win Freywind Canyon, you get 6 victory boxes. These victory boxes typically have just materials, basically materials that are used to enchant, so it's always good because you're basically stocking up on things that you're going to need in the future. It's basically how I've gotten all my enchanting materials. But also, there's a chance for you to get either golden talents or silver talents. Might not sound like a lot of gold, but whenever you unbox these things and get 140 golden talents, you're talking at a decent sum of money. If you get even luckier and you get 70 or so of the silver talents, even more money. Also, doing the dailies, you are getting access to those little loot boxes and everything like that. So there is a way for the PvPers in the game to actually still make money. It's just you do have to win. So I recommend queuing up Freywind every day at 5 p.m. PST. Hopefully you get on the pre-made teams or make a couple of pre-made teams of yourself or with your guild. Because right now, Freywind is popping every day at 5 p.m. PST because there's a Discord that is constantly getting Freywinds to pop. If there are different promotional battlegrounds, such as Corsair's Stronghold, Corsair's, when you win, you get 5 boxes. So if there's a extra bonus event going on, it's possible that Corsair's might be better. Alright. Alright everyone, that's going to wrap up the video. Hopefully you found it informational. I do highly recommend having 2 or 3 characters that you're doing the Ghillie Glades, doing the Pit of Petrax, as well as maybe running a couple of Ravenous Gorges just so you can maximize that amount of gold that you're getting. Right now I know that my bottleneck is going to be gold as far as going about enchanting my Reaper or my Berserker. So make sure you utilize everything that we talked about in this video. Make sure you get that alchemy on one of your characters, at least to the artisan level. If you found it informational, don't forget to click the like button down below, as well as comment. I will be reading comments very actively on this video. If you have any kind of questions, don't hesitate to post down below. Once again guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch y'all next time. Peace.